My application for the Beckman Young Investigator Award was to study proteins and protein-protein interactions. In particular, we were interested in one of these interactions called the Notch signaling pathway. And it's Notch protein that penetrates through the cell's membrane through a particular sequence. It's a cell-cell communication mechanism that allows cells to realize what kind of identities they should adopt at what time and in what position. So it's really important for forming organs. And when it fails, we form the wrong types of tissues, which can lead to things like birth defects, or too many cells, which can lead to cancers. In the 1980s and 1990s, we didn't understand how it worked at the molecular level. And so we were interested in looking at how those proteins interact and how they folded up into a specific three-dimensional structure to communicate the information through the membrane inside of the cell so that the cell can respond. Understanding the rules that proteins use to fold helps us to understand what goes wrong and how to design drugs that interact more tightly with their targets. And with the support from the Beckman Foundation, I was able to generate the preliminary data that I needed to compete for 2 federally funded grants, which has led to significant discovery both in Notch signaling and in understanding protein thermodynamics in a complex way. I certainly wouldn't be where I am today without that support, starting with the Beckman Foundation. They've been unwavering in their support through the Beckman Young Investigators Program to lead to new insights, inventions, new methods, and fundamental understandings in not only biology, but in chemistry.
Electrochemistry is foundational to many important renewable energy technologies, batteries, fuel cells, sustainable chemical productions, to name a few. But a lot of important electrochemical processes are very difficult to probe using existing technologies. They often involve reactions that are very short-lived, but those transient events are very critical to understand how the system behaves. That's why I want to bring fluorescence microscopy, this powerful tool commonly used to probe biological systems, into electrochemistry. It uses a special group of molecules called fluorophores that would light up in the presence of certain chemical events and would allow us to, for example, observe how battery materials degrade during operation. And that information has the potential to fundamentally transform the way that we think about developing better materials and better and stronger and more reliable batteries. We're also developing this robotic system for high-throughput experimentation of electrochemical processes. This platform would allow us to test dozens or even hundreds of new battery recipes in a time frame that it used to take to just test a few. This rapid generation of battery property data can be combined with artificial intelligence to predict what's the next materials to make or the next experimental conditions to test. So this would significantly accelerate the material discovery process. I was having a lot of resistance in getting support from conventional funding sources, but the Beckman Foundation really values bold ideas and provided us the resources to pursue this new research direction in my lab. And also being part of the Beckman community is really helpful in terms of meeting amazing scientists and networking. That is a very great experience for a junior faculty like me who's trying to start my independent career.
The missions of Johns Hopkins and the Beckman Foundation are really the same mission. Our missions are both to promote excellent science, and to do that, they need to promote excellent scientists and give them the resources they need to make discoveries and to be competitive. Inclusion of the Beckman Foundation on the Johns Hopkins Founders Wall is a lovely way to recognize the generosity of the Beckman Foundation towards our university over many, many years, both in terms of funding individuals and to providing cutting-edge infrastructure and equipment so that the entire university can flourish.